Behind every docket is a person. Behind every ruling, a day's work on the Tennessee bench. This is In Chambers. 3 sitting judges, off the record and on the level, talking candidly about the law, the courts, and the communities they serve. 3 Tennessee judges, 1 bench, no scripts. Welcome in.
All right. Welcome, everyone. I'm here with Judge Jenny Scott of Haywood County and Judge Drew Cook of Lake County. I am Judge Mo Eckel of Tipton County. Welcome to our inaugural podcast.
Welcome, everybody.
Welcome, everybody.
I thought we'd start out today by just explaining who we are and how we got on the bench and a little bit of our history. And so I thought, Jenny, we'll start with you. How did you get to where you are today?
All right. Well, I was born and raised in Haywood County. When I turned 18, I was ready to leave and went to school where I knew no one at LSU. Got my undergrad. My future was sort of a black hole because I majored in psychology, and what can you really do with just that? So I went to D.C. and worked there for a couple years for a congressman.
That's a good place for a psychology degree.
Very good place.
Yeah, I learned a lot about the minds there, and learned that I could barely make it there. So if I was going to make some big girl decisions, I needed to do them quickly. So I'd always said I wanted to be an attorney, and so I applied to law school. I took the LSAT before I graduated LSU, and my score was still eligible for enrollment. So I got into law school. I went to Stetson in Florida, realized that summer sessions were cheaper than semester sessions. So I graduated law school in 2.5 years because I did summer school twice. And then I decided to move back to Tennessee to take the bar. So I moved back and lived in Knoxville and took the bar, passed the bar, started working for a 40 office that does child support, and started there. And then I had a kid and decided that free babysitting was worth making my way back to West Tennessee. And so in 2009, I moved back to Brownsville, my hometown, and eventually got it. I was offered a job at the DA's office, still doing child support, and did that for, I guess, about 11 years. And then Judge Reed, who is my predecessor, announced his retirement in July of 2021. And in October of 2021, the Haywood County Commission met, and it was me and another gentleman. And I was successful in my endeavors for the appointment to take over the remainder of Judge Reed's his term. Essentially, he had about 1 year left of his term. So on January 2nd of 2022, I was sworn in as the first female judge in my entire district. And then was successful in my bid for election. I actually ran unopposed in August of 2022. And so I'm in the middle of my 8-year term for that. And I am over general sessions in Haywood County and juvenile court. And I also have a recovery court program. So I will run for re-election in 2030.
Good. Well, you said you started out in a 4D child support. Was that Knox County?
I was in the 10th Judicial District, which is McMinn, Monroe, Bradley, and there was one more county, but I did Bradley and McMinn counties was counties that covered. Polk County. Polk, McMinn, Monroe, and Bradley were the 4 counties in that judicial district, and I was over Polk and Bradley County. So Cleveland, Tennessee is where I was primarily, right about near from Chattanooga. That's where I started.
Okay.
That.
All right, Judge Cook. What about it, Drew? How'd you get to where you are?
Well, I have similar, born and raised in a small town that many of our listeners probably will never have heard of, called Tiptonville. Born and raised. It borders and is located on Reelfoot Lake. It's a great place to come fish, hunt, visit, camp as well, and just, have a good time just to get away. One of the good things about being in a small town is that you know everybody, and then in a minute when I explain to you why it's not a good situation, sometimes you'll understand. But graduated from Lake County High School. After that, I attended University of Tennessee in Martin, got a criminal justice degree there, and after that applied to law school. I'd always believed that I wanted to be an attorney, and it was the cliched, you watch a TV show, a legal show or a movie, and you're like, oh, that's cool. And then you think about it for a while. And then when I was in high school, I became a part of the first criminal justice class that had the teen court or youth court. and participated in it. And I think that was God's way of kind of showing me, hey, this is kind of what I want you to do. And
Okay.
eventually, I applied to law school, took the LSAT, and got accepted, went into Nashville School of Law in Nashville, Tennessee. Went there and graduated in 2014. Moved back to Tiptonville, and what I started doing then was I went to work at a firm in Dyersburg, uh, which is about 25 minutes south of Tiptonville in Dyer County. Worked for the current circuit court judge for our district. Hayes, he hired me. I worked with him and several other partners there, good men who taught me a lot. Worked there for about a year and a half, and then at that time, the district attorney called, told me, he said, I've got an opening for an assistant DA position, and I wanted to offer it to you. And so in September of 2016, I took over as an assistant district attorney and practiced mostly in Dyersburg City Court and Yuba Municipal Court. I also practiced in the district for ninth, which is Dyer and Lake County, and circuit courts and other matters, just covering different courts for about it was close to a year and a half then as well. I turned 30 in November of 2017, and I found out that my boss was retiring. And the gentleman who it was revealed to be the one that was going to replace him, was the General Sessions Judge of the county of Lake County, where I live. And he is now our elected district attorney, Danny Goodman. And the county commission, I applied to become the General Sessions Judge, and the county commission approved me unanimously to be the judge, and I started on January 1st, 2018, at the ripe old age of 30 years old. I always got some laughs about that. But
Uh-huh.
ever since then, I've been serving as a General Sessions Judge. I ran for to fill out the remainder of the term of my predecessor in August of 22. I was unopposed for that. Got elected. Served out the remainder of that term. I've had opposition in 2000, and I'm sorry, that was in 18, August of 2018. In August of 2022, I ran. I had opposition. I was thankful to be reelected, and I've been serving ever since then. And my current term ends in 2030. Similar to Jenny, I also and you as well. I have general sessions in juvenile jurisdiction. I also serve as a member of our recovery court for Dyer and Lake County, and just that's about it.
Good. We have different paths to get here, but very similar jobs now. I had a little more, of course, I'm quite a bit older than both of you, but I have a little bit more circuitous route. I started out my adult life in the physical therapy field. I followed my father's footsteps and became licensed as a physical therapist after attending the University of Osteopathic Medicine in Des Moines, Iowa. I graduated there in 92, married my wife that year, moved to Tipton County, and we've lived here and raised 5 children here. In 2013, went back to school and got 2003, went back to school, graduated and got my doctorate in physical therapy, and then started just really getting disenfranchised with the medical profession. And I loved the work, loved treating the patients, but felt like I was constantly in a battle with insurance companies to get paid. And I had always been interested in the law since I heard the author of, his name slips my mind right now, but he's the author of the book Original Intent, and talking about the Constitution and the original intent. And I, at the time, told my wife, I said, that'd be pretty cool that was like 95. I said, it'd be pretty cool to go to law school. And she said, you got 5 kids and you're poor and you're not going to law school. You've got
The
a career.
voice of reason always.
Yes, always. And so I continued to read and stayed kind of dabbling in learning about the law. And then in 2010, my dad and I had 3 physical therapy clinics, one of them in Tipton County. And I was not satisfied, and Audrey knew it, and my wife. And one day I said, man, it'd be cool to go to law school. And she said, well, if you're going to do it, you better do it. You're not getting any younger. And I was shocked. And so when I got the green light, I started applying to law schools. And as I got accepted, mine was a regional decision. When I got accepted to one, I would hold that for as long as I could until I got accepted to one that was closer to home, because I had 5 kids, all of them in school, elementary, junior high, and high school. And then I finally visited Mississippi College School of Law, fell in love with Clinton, Mississippi, and the school, and it was a very kind of homey, inviting environment. And I actually got waitlisted at Memphis. So 2011, August of 2011, began law school, graduated there in 2014, and opened a small practice on the square in Covington, which is all I thought I would ever do, because that's what I wanted to do, just where folks could stop by and drink coffee. I wasn't in any, I definitely wasn't a big law kind of person, didn't have any interest in that. And as tends to happen, I did that for a couple of years and kind of got stir crazy and started adding associates. And then in 2023, I had, which it's not big, it was big for Tipton County. I had the largest practice in Tipton County with 5 associates. And Mayor Huffman contacted me in August of 23 and said, "You had mentioned you were interested in one day being a judge. Are you still interested?" And I said, "Well, hold on a minute." And he goes, "You got to let me know." And so I called Audrey and she was very supportive. And so I said, "Okay, I'll do it." And he said, "Well, you need to contact county commissioners." And there were 2 other candidates up for consideration. And November 13th of 2023, the county commission appointed me to finish Judge Peeler's term, but he was only a year in. So the way the rules are, you have to run in the next election. So I took the bench January 2nd of 2024, and then ran in the primary with opposition and was successful there. And so have been on the bench as the general sessions and juvenile court judge ever since. And middle of my term, the end of my term will be 2030 also. And I also have a recovery court that I preside over, and
In a
I
veterans
think
court,
that's
a
it.
hybrid veterans court.
Hybrid veterans court.
I think Drew and I will both concur that you are our ambitious colleague.
I get my wife tells me sometimes, "Can't you just sit still?" And I do for a minute, and then I think, "Hey, we could try this, and we could try this." So
I think it's kind of cool that we all started our positions with appointments.
we did, and
we did.
in rural counties,
Yeah.
we had, like I said, once we got to the point in our careers where we were going to enter the judiciary, we had very similar paths.
Right.
Yep.
So let's talk about our counties. We'll start with you again, Jenny. Tell us population, Haywood County, kind of the makeup. I know we're going to talk next week about rural judiciary positions versus urban judiciary positions, but let's just give them a little background as far as what our county makeup's like.
So like I said, I'm in Haywood County. The county seat is Brownsville. So that's where our justice center is, where my office is, and where our court is held. Right now, we're probably most recognized for Blue Oval City in Tennessee, which is where the new Ford plant decided to locate. There's been some hiccups with that, but hopefully we'll see some production in the next couple of years. It's definitely changed the dynamics of our county, but our pretty continuous population is about 17 to 18,000. We saw an influx during the construction phase of Blue Oval, which also changed the type of cases I had on my docket. So we had a pretty big increase in DUIs and simple assaults during that time period.
Right.
Because there were a lot of transient construction workers.
And you have a pretty significant stretch of 40 through your county.
Right. So so about 70,000, but I would say that I probably see a lot more out of state and participants in my court proceedings. Maybe, I don't know, probably, but maybe more so than you guys see. Just traffic court and, offenses that happen on roadways would be probably.
I hadn't thought about that. Yeah.
That's a good
We
point.
go from about mile marker 67 to about mile marker 42 would be the stretch of I-40 that covers Haywood County. It does include a weigh station, so we have a lot of trucker cases.
A lot of trucks.
Now it used to bring that actually used to be a huge revenue builder for Haywood County, but now they do a lot of the federal regulation citations, and so it's not necessarily as much. But it definitely it I had to learn a lot about CDLs and commercial drivers, and I was seeing tickets about things that I didn't know. And so actually one day I went and shadowed the scales, the weigh station, just to learn what certain things mean, like overweight, over length, just, they say a certain thing, but what exactly does it mean? So I did try to educate myself on exactly what I was seeing in court. I have criminal court every Tuesday. I have a 9 o'clock docket and a 1:30 docket. And we do that to try to accommodate our officers that work day shift and night shift. So our day shift are usually at the 9 o'clock docket, and our night shift officers are usually on the 1:30 docket. Right now, we only have a Brownsville Police Department and a Sheriff's Department. And then obviously there's some other agencies like state troopers and
THP,
drug
right?
task force and stuff that bring cases through my court, but those are our main law enforcement agencies. But we're about to have Stanton Police Department, which is another city in Haywood County that's incorporated, that is about to form their own police agency. And so I'll have another law enforcement agency actually bringing cases in front of me. So it'll be interesting to kind of watch how that starts.
Is all of Stanton in Haywood, or is part of
Yep.
it in
All
Fayette?
of it is in
Okay.
Haywood.
I didn't
Wow.
realize that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we do have some specialized courts aside, not courts, but dockets, I guess is a better way. We have a domestic docket, and that's on a Monday, and we just hear domestic related cases that day to kind of insulate the victims and that type of offense on a certain day. And then I have juvenile court on Mondays. That we have one docket at 9 for dependent neglect cases, DCS cases, custody cases, guardianship cases, those type cases. And then I have we call it, judicial lingo and legal lingo is our JJ docket, basically our juvenile justice
Juvenile
docket.
justice. Yeah.
And that is delinquent and unruly offenses. I mean, that's at 1:30 in the afternoons on Mondays. And then on Wednesdays, I have civil in the morning, and then I have a traffic docket, and then I have child support every Wednesday afternoon. Also, because I'm a rural county, I have to share courtroom space. So on Thursdays, Chancery is assigned that courtroom, but I, still have to have special settings sometimes. And then Fridays I try to keep it as my administrative day, but I also keep it open for special settings because, as y'all know, there are time sensitive cases that are statutorily required to be heard within so much time, and I try to leave time always in a week to be able to fit those cases in. So that's what a typical week looks like. I do bring cases up to set bonds, every day we're here. I did not understand how many spokes there were in the wheels of justice. It's not just our courtroom. We have to make sure we have courtroom security, that we have clerks available. And so that it's not just what works best for my schedule, it's everybody's schedule. So that's kind of what a typical week looks like. I've yet to experience a typical week, so I'm hopeful for that one day will happen. I mean, it's an honor to serve, but it's a job that is not, you see people on their worst day constantly.
Yeah.
So although it's an honor to serve, it's a tough job to actually have to do. And we're on call 24/7.
That's
There
true.
are countless times that I get called in the middle of the night to come to sign a search warrant or to set a bond, or a child needs to come into state's custody, or a child has committed a delinquent offense and I need to determine whether or not they need to go to detention. So although my typical work week is 8 to 4:30, like I said, I've yet to see a typical week. So there's many times that I'm up here at, 9 or 10 o'clock, or I'm getting phone calls in the middle of the night to make decisions. So I think, but I was naive to the position. I will admit that. I did not, Judge Reed definitely did not give me full disclosure before I agreed to seek this appointment. But there's a lot of pieces that you didn't know went into the job. It's not just sitting on the bench and making decisions. There's a lot of things that happen behind the scenes.
Good. Very interesting. Drew, what about Lake County?
Well, to echo what Jenny just said, my predecessor, now General Goodman, the first day I was getting ready to start, he said, "You sure you want my job?" So I knew right then something was coming. I was like, "Oh Lord!" But it's an honor. It's an honor to do this job. It's a rewarding job because just how we're able to help people. And I know that's a topic for other shows, but
Sure.
I live in, like I said, in Lake County, Tennessee. We are a small community. We have about 6,500 to 7,000 people in the county. Our biggest thing we're known for is Reelfoot Lake. It's a man-made. It was a man lake caused by an earthquake in the 1800s, and it's our claim to fame. A beautiful area. People love to come fish, eat, hunt. It's a beautiful place. But the thing about being a small county is sometimes that, we have in Tiptonville, there's a grocery store in Ridgely, which is another town in the county. But 9 times out of 10, if I go to that store, I'm going to run into somebody who's on my docket.
That's why I love Walmart pickup now.
There you go.
Hey, how are you? And I have to explain to them, like, hey, I can't talk to you if they begin to ask me about a case. Well, I do my best to try to talk to people and be respectful if that ever situation ever arises. But I love Lake County. Been there my whole life. It's home. And one of the things as far as my week goes is I have a Monday a criminal docket in the morning for general sessions, and then later in the day I have a civil docket where I take up my civil cases with all my evictions and any other collection agency type cases. Thursdays is I set another day aside for criminal court on Thursdays, and another day for civil as well on a Thursday. Twice a month I have a juvenile docket. And similar to what Jenny said, when for our folks listening, when we say JJ or delinquent or unruly, what that means is that is if an adult got charged with something, if an adult got charged, I've got a visitor coming in here. I've got a visitor. I'm sorry.
Is
Hey,
it
buddy.
your child?
It's my boy.
Yeah.
That's okay. My mom and dad are here too.
Great.
Hey, mom and dad. Y'all say hi.
The mayor walked in. I love
That's
it.
a perfect example of a rural court right there.
Exactly.
Well, you never met my mom, and folks at home, this is my mother. She was our clerk and master in Lake County for 23 and a half years, long time, taught me a bunch.
Okay.
She knows this lady over here on the right-hand corner before, and this is my little boy here, Mason, and my dad, Danny Cook. He's our county mayor, so it's a family affair.
Mayor Cook, it is a pleasure to meet you.
Nice to meet you, everybody. Thank you.
See you.
Good to see y'all
Hey.
today.
Hey, bud.
I'm sorry, I didn't know you were busy.
No, we're recording the session. That's okay. That's
No,
okay.
that's fine. That's what we
Yeah,
want it
hey,
to be
right.
informal.
It's a day in the life
Absolutely.
of.
I'm explaining to them what we're talking about our counties and what it goes into being judges in our counties. And I told them, I said, with our home, we're going to see everybody. We've got we've got a one grocery store here, but we've got a Dairy Queen that everybody goes to and loves, and we see everybody there. And it's just an
And a
example of it.
gremlin.
And
I love the gremlin
We have a
appearance.
parade tonight or a golf cart.
Yeah, we're gonna have a parade tonight. For Memorial Day. But hey, turn that off.
All right, y'all go ahead.
Because
That's okay.
anyway, I'll be done in a minute.
Nice to see you all.
But as far as the rest goes, though, I also do my juvenile docket where I have those offenses, or if you were an adult, or I'm sorry, if you were a juvenile, the offenses that the adults commit, those are the JJ cases. Also, on one Friday a month, I dedicate to the Department of Children's Services because we sometimes have a really big docket where we have to remove children from homes in horrible situations, and it's not the best day, but it eventually sometimes does lead to good days if there's ever any reunions or reunifications.
Let me interrupt you real quick, Drew. You said, so are your 2 juvenile dockets that you schedule a month, are those JJ dockets or JJ and DN?
Those are just JJs.
JJ, and then you have 1 docket a month for
DCS.
your DCS and private custody matters, that kind of thing.
Private custody matters where the private petitions that are filed. And sometimes when, like Judge Scott said, we got 1 courtroom in the whole county. So circuit court, chancery court, we share joint custody of the courtroom. And it's
You got a beautiful courtroom.
You do.
we're very blessed. I'm very fortunate. Yeah. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. That's live TV right there. That's
Hey,
live TV.
We're all for it.
I
I'm
do
sure
have
it's
my own parking spot at mine. He might have a beautiful courtroom, but I have my own parking spot.
You
in a
have
parking
indoor
garage.
parking. Yeah,
I do,
you
because
have
it's the
indoor
old Time Loop
parking.
Express from Walmart.
Yeah, well, but you have indoor parking.
It's nice.
So.
He's fancy.
Do you have a garage door opener?
I do. Yep.
He's
Wow.
fancy.
Yeah,
Fancy.
and that's high security. I just park out where anybody can attack
You
me.
have your own spot with your name on it.
Well, I do.
I don't.
but-
I don't.
You have the best courtroom. I have the best parking, and Mo has the best technology.
I just
There
hang
we
out.
go.
Yeah,
We
Hey,
all
3 for 3.
we have to
3 for
capitalize
3.
on our assets.
that's right.
That's true.
So before we move into Tipton County. So, Drew, what counties is in your judicial district?
Lake and Dyer counties, and Lake County
Okay,
border. Yeah.
and
Go
then
ahead.
Jenny.
So I'm the 28th judicial district. So we have Gibson County, which is probably our largest, or definitely our largest, and then Crockett, and then Haywood.
Okay. Well, I'm in the 25th Judicial District. It's 5 counties composed of Tipton, which is the largest county in the district, then Fayette, Lauderdale County, Hardeman, and McNairy. Tipton County has a population of right at 70,000, and we border Memphis we border Shelby County, but we get a lot of our business out of Shelby County. I'm trying to discourage that.
Y'all got those billboards.
Well, we do have billboards, yeah, but I'm not on those. Thank you. To the folks in Nashville, I'm not on the billboard. But I take care. We have juvenile court every Monday. That's for dependency and neglect cases. And one of those dates is dedicated to DCS. We're working, if we can coordinate with you guys,
Not to interrupt, but we all have the same DCS region. We're all in the same, even though we're all different judicial districts,
Right.
we are the same DCS region.
That's true, which is why I'm trying to get them to coordinate with you guys so that I can have 2 DCS days a month instead of one. Because
there too.
Ours is very heavy on that day, and I discourage private petitions and private actions on the DCS day.
I've had to move a lot of my private actions to my child support day because it's gotten to be too much.
Right. And
that's
then Tuesdays and Thursdays, I have my criminal court docket. I started the week after I took office, I started a night court on Tuesday evenings for traffic only. I slated it for 5:30 to 8:30. I've never been there past 7. We run it pretty efficiently. And that was to help take the traffic off of my criminal docket so that they're a little bit more manageable. Wednesdays, I do my civil docket and then orders of protection. And Friday, the first and third Fridays are my juvenile justice, my JJ days. And that's first and third Fridays of the month. And then I reserve the afternoons, depending on if they need a 4-hour trial. I'll put those on Monday afternoons or Wednesday afternoons if the spot's available. If it's a full day trial, then those are typically going to be on the 2nd or 4th or 5th if there is one in the month, Fridays. We do our recovery courts on the 1st and 3rd Monday afternoons, and child supports, they seem like they're always there, but they're typically there I hear cases on Mondays, and we just kind of squeeze those in. I do arraignments every day. Of course, I'm like you guys. I set bonds 24/7. Well, let me take that back. My first 8 months, I set bonds 24/7, and then our county commissioners approved for me to have 3 judicial commissioners.
3? I thought it was just 2.
No, there's 3. No, they split the month 10 days each. They're on call from 9 to 5, 9 at night to 5 in the morning.
Some people have all the luck.
And then they roll off. But my wife is very appreciative that I'm not having the phone ring.
I think the traffic court at night is such a service to your community. I think the way that
and I think people have appreciated it. Right. They don't have to take off work if they get a speeding ticket, they're not losing a day's pay or having to use PTO. Yeah. So that's worked out well. My judicial commissioners are non-attorneys, so the statute allows judicial commissioners to do quite a bit, but mine are limited to just setting bonds. They've been trained. They go to training each year, and that's been a big help. And then obviously, if it's something they're not comfortable with, they just say hold for judge, and then I'll deal with it the next morning.
I do appoint a judicial commissioner every year. It's a local attorney, and if I'm going to be out, I put them kind of on call to set bonds, and they do it for free as just a courtesy to the court. But it's usually an attorney that doesn't practice a lot of criminal law, because I have to keep in mind that takes business from them.
Oh, that's
if they set a bond, and that's a case that they can't get hired on. So I try to be. I've been mindful of not taking business away from someone because they're willing to do a courtesy for the court.
I try to do something similar. I'm thankful that I've got in the neighboring areas, I've got judges that when I'm out, they'll tell me, hey, just call me if you
Right.
need bond set. They'll do that.
Right. I'm lucky too that Judge Reed, my predecessor, that I spoke about, I have a designation order, basically a standing order. What that means is that the Supreme Court has allowed him to basically be my backup. If there's a conflict, a case I have a conflict with, or something else is going on, he is sort of by the Supreme Court already approved to be the backup for me and sit in place of me. I've
That's a
also
huge
Well,
used Mo and Drew have come in and sat for conflict cases too. So it's really nice to, this is kind of off top, but have a group of judges, as the three of us are, that not only can back you up in court if you need it, but can also be a springboard for ideas and issues and things like
the
that.
brain trust.
That's
Yeah.
correct.
And for the folks at home, like this is like the three of us, these are two of my very best friends in this field, and we bounce things off each other, like ideas that we have or, questions we've got.
Definitely weekly, sometimes daily.
Yeah. This is an incredibly rewarding job, as Drew said in the beginning. I think, Mo, you would agree. It's really rewarding when that we can help people. We're in position to help people. It's also a very lonely job because you have to be very careful about relationships. We all live in communities, and although, Mo, yours is bigger than ours, it's still a small community. And
Oh,
we
yeah.
know people, and so you have to be very careful about relationships. So us being able to, have the friendships that we have and the trust that we have with each other and the confidence we have in each other is really, I'm very,
It's a
very
blessing.
grateful. Yeah,
Right.
truly a
Absolutely.
blessing.
Yeah.
It's a big blessing.
Well, I think that's a good stopping point for this first podcast, and I'm excited about what we're going to do in the future. Our next one, like I said, we're going to discuss what it's like being rural compared to urban judges and what our relationships are with those judges. And of course, we all have relationships through the judicial conference and with our circuit court judges, and we'll explore that. And I think we are all still on for our monthly judicial dinner tomorrow evening.
Right.
I'm not going to disclose the location, but
That's confidential. No pictures or social media.
that is, I'm not disclosing the location. But again, I thank you guys. I think we're going to have a lot of fun doing this. And I think it's going to be good for the public and even our peers to see, that they're not alone, and we're experiencing the same thing that they're experiencing. But the public needs to know, really, there's a big misconception in the law and courts from what they see on TV. And so hopefully we can give some insight into that and have this be a real educational opportunity.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you very much, and I will see you both tomorrow evening.
See y'all tomorrow.
Sounds
Have a
good.
good rest of your
See you
day.
tomorrow. Y'all have
All
a good
right,
night.
you too. Thank you, guys.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for spending time with us in Chambers. We hope today's conversation gave you a clearer look at the work of the Tennessee bench. The views here are our own. Nothing in this program is legal advice. If you'd like to keep watching, you'll find more episodes wherever you found this one. Until next time.